The conclusion of round 6 has finally been done, and there were a ton of fantastic games that I'd like to talk about today. Now, this is by far, in my opinion, the best round that has ever occurred of the AFL this season, and let's get into all the winners and losers right now. What's up, everybody? It's the Aidan Sports Show, and welcome back to another video. This is going to be an AFL Round 6 match review results where I give what my predictions were and will assess how many predictions I got right and how many predictions I got wrong, as well as discussing the goods and bads of the games that have occurred. Now, before we get started, please like and subscribe to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel, turn notifications on, share the video, share the playlist, and let me know if your team won the game and by how much, and also let me know where your team currently ranks in the terms of the ladder, because the ladder is very, very unpredictable at this time. I feel like any team from 16 to 1 could probably end up getting kicked out of the top 8 at any given moment. That's just my opinion. Of course, 1 probably won't, but nevertheless, let's get stuck into it. And this was the very first game of the round 6. It was Geelong versus Brisbane. Now, I predicted Brisbane to win this game, and by God, they did not win this game, and it was actually embarrassing the way that they lost this game. So the score was 73-46. That's a loss for me. That's the first L of the episode. There's going to be a lot more of that to come, trust me. But the main reason why I said this is an embarrassing loss for Brisbane is the tales of the two halves, man. Like, in the first half, Brisbane were the fantastic team that I said they were. But then Geelong kicked things into gear and became the team that they were against Hawthorn. And they absolutely obliterated Brisbane from then on in. And Brisbane didn't have a sniff. And that's why it's an embarrassing loss for Brisbane. It's not the most, it's not a loss that's going to ruin their identity or anything like that. But it's definitely a loss that they should be ashamed of, to be honest. As a Brisbane fan, I would be extremely upset with this loss. And to be honest, I think most Brisbane fans are upset with this loss, and that's where my emotions lie between Geelong and Brisbane. I'm stunned that Brisbane lost this game, but that second half performance from Geelong was just sensational stuff, man. Sensational stuff. They were nowhere near going to take that win. They were like 20 points down, 26 points down or something like that. But then in the second half, man, absolutely obliterated Brisbane. And there you go. It just shows, man, it's a two-half game. Can't play one half and then let the other half just slip away because you're going to get your ass kicked. And it's happened so many times this season. It's a tale of two halves. One half, there's a team doing fantastic, then the other half, the other team just absolutely obliterates the first team. It's sensational to watch, honestly, and it's not usually like this at all. And that's why it's a little bit interesting to see, I guess. Going into the next game, Collingwood versus Hawthorn. Now, stupid me went against Collingwood for the first time and picked Hawthorn, and stupid me gets another loss. It was stupid because Hawthorn were abysmal. 27 points they scored. The score line was 59-27. Neither team played great here. Both teams couldn't kick to save their lives. Like 3-9 for Hawthorn. That's ridiculous. That's genuinely ridiculous. And 8-11, I believe, for Collingwood. That is absurd. That's absurd. And Hawthorn, I mean, I don't know if this is going to be a retaliation or a little bit of a hit, a little bit of a statement hit to show that they're not a great team. I don't know, but I'm kind of confident next week with Melbourne if that's the way that Hawthorn are going to play. 27 points is not good enough for any team. You could be Adelaide, you could be Port Adelaide, you could be first from last. 27 points is not good for any team. And that is a statement. I don't care how short the quarters are, you don't score 27 points and win the game. Never ever going to happen. They got completely done, and in the end, that's the second loss for me. 0 for 2 already, and it's gonna keep on coming. Next up, Fremantle versus St Kilda. Fremantle, with a very good performance, I must say, gave an outstanding show of themselves. Defeated St Kilda 79-73. I predicted the Saints win by a landslide, and the landslide was not given to me. Unfortunately, this was a game where I took an L, but I'm very proud of both teams. This is one of the best games in the round, man. This game was absolutely beautiful. I loved this game. So end to end, it was sensational. It was honestly breathtaking at points. This was by far probably until there were other games I want to get into, but until that game played, I think this game was the best game of the AFL so far this season, and that's pretty good. Obviously, there's Giants and Collingwood. There are very, very good games out there, but this was one of my favorites, and maybe it's because Fremantle was a big underdog, and that's why it kind of led me towards picking them as a favorite, as a favorite game to watch. But I think both teams really outdid themselves here and put on a game to entertain the crowd, and that's what you love to see. You love to see players giving it all, fast attacking play, giving everything that they have. But unfortunately for St Kilda, just wasn't enough for them. And that's 3 losses for me. Count them. 1, 2, 3. I'm already down 0-3. Can I recuperate from this miserable start? Let's keep going. Next game, West Coast versus Adelaide. And that's the first win on the board for me. The most obvious game to predict in the world. West Coast comfortably beats Adelaide 34-67. Again, what I think about this game is complete domination, really. I think West Coast should probably have got a higher scoreline, but again, they got 7 points instead of 7 goals. Again, I think inconsistencies in kicking is like the main thing of the AFL throughout the years, man. It's gotten worse and worse, and it hasn't got any better here. Yeah, look, honestly, West Coast, they should win this game. They comfortably should have won this game, and they comfortably did win this game. They did what they were set out to do. Adelaide with 34 points was not the winner or the loser of this round. I'll give that at the end of the video as well, the winners and the losers of the round. But you have to be honest, they were not good enough. And again, I don't. It's like beating a dead horse at the moment. I don't want to keep bagging on Adelaide, so I'm going to move on. But just realise that Adelaide was not a great team against Hawthorn. Next up, and one of the better fantastic games of this season as well, Melbourne versus Gold Coast. 2 very young, very up-and-coming teams with great quality going head-to-head, with both teams struggling. So you saw end-to-end football, you saw turnovers, you saw fast, quick play, you saw a bunch of things. A very newcomer, I forget his name, I apologize, but for Gold Coast, his very first game, he kicked 3 goals, and he could have kicked at least 6 if he was hitting on target, and Gold Coast could have won that game. He was fantastic, but Melbourne were very good as well. And to be honest, I thought we did play better than Gold Coast, not by much, because of course the 2 teams were so similar. It's basically end-to-end stuff, but the quality wasn't there for either team, and I guess that's what made the game so impressive, is that with the quality not there for both teams, we saw end-to-end turnovers, we saw defensive plays, we saw great fast breaks, we saw everything that we needed to see, and this game was a fantastic game. Was it the game of the round? I could be biased to say yes, but there is another game that I want to get into. At least the first half, that game was amazing. But yeah, I predicted Melbourne to win, and Melbourne won 80-63. I could talk a lot about this game, and I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm not going to say everything I need to say, but I'm going to say I thought at least for Melbourne, the picks for this game was much better than the 2 weeks before. We finally put Wiedemann in the game. At the end of the day, Wiedemann is a player that's struggling for confidence, is a player that many people don't see a future in, is a player that we probably overpaid. But at this point in time, if you're going to play long ball football and you're going to kick it to the forward line every single time and have no presence besides Tom McDonald, who unfortunately got injured this game, hopefully everything's all right with that. We'll know more in the future. If I could give the reasoning behind his eye injury in the round 7 predictions, I will try and remember to do it. But you need to have enough tall in that forward line. And I thought Wiedemann played better than Tom McDonald. I think Tom McDonald has been woefully out of form. But it's not even about playing better than each other. It's about contributing to each other. It's about working with each other. We needed more tools in the forward line. That doesn't mean you drop Pickett, who was sensational once again. It doesn't mean you drop Harley Bennell. You don't drop these players, but you at least need to contribute or help build a relationship with the forward line. Have two tools in there. Most teams that play the way that we play have a lot of tools in their 50. And Wiedemann and Tom McDonald might not be the greatest duo of all time, but they will get the job done for us the way that we play. And Wiedemann will develop. He's still very young. Tom McDonald is a fantastic kick of the football as well. I rarely see Tom McDonald miss a goal. So it's all about getting him the ball as well. these two working together, I feel like could definitely cause damage to other teams. And that's what I'm hoping to see in the future. Hopefully Tom McDonald's injury is not that bad, so we can actually see him again, and hopefully Wiedemann can get into his form and to develop a little bit more. We want these players to develop. The only way they're going to develop properly is to play them in AFL games, and they'll get better and better. I truly believe that. And Wiedemann again scored 3 goals. It's as simple as that. We didn't get many 3 goals performers in the last 2 weeks, so why not keep doing it? Go with what works. And if we're going to play that way of football, we're going to bomb along to the 50 and hope for the best. You need the tools to actually provide the best. And that's what I think. Anyway, next up, another great game. And I watched this game right after the Melbourne game, really. And it was great. It was a great ending to the game as well. And I thought North Melbourne made a good account of themselves. But it was Essendon versus North Melbourne. Essendon won 67-53. I predicted Essendon to win. I even had a little bit of a meme moment. I accidentally predicted North Melbourne and switched it like that. But yeah, look, North Melbourne gave a very good account of themselves, and you have to give respect where it's due. It's just as simple as that. I can't keep bagging on these teams, especially when they don't deserve it. This North Melbourne team is an inconsistent team. I think everybody can agree with that. We don't really know what to expect with North Melbourne day in and day out. But what we do know is that they can fight against the good teams. They can fight against quality. They can fight and win games. We've seen it with GWS. This team is something that can win any given game at any given time. Even if you don't necessarily pick them, they're still in there to go and win. They're still in there and they can still compete to the point where they can win games they're not supposed to win. That's something I've learned over North Melbourne over the coming weeks, the previous weeks. Despite them not being favourites for most of the games they're in, they can fight to beat any team at any given time. And that's a good possession to have. That's a good asset to have in your team, man. You always want your players to be hardworking and fighting for everything that they have, and eventually hard work will get you wins. Over the years, I feel like North Melbourne can eventually become a great team. That's all I'm thinking about right now. Next up, the Port Adelaide Power versus the GWS Giants, and the losses keep on coming. I predicted GWS to win. Not only did they lose, they were not very good either. Now the scoreline is fairly decent. It's only I don't know, 63-46. My maths is blank, you know. I'm doing all of this in the heat of the moment. I'll be sure to edit that in somewhere. But yeah, look, Port Adelaide proved to me that they could beat a good team, and that's something that we've been missing over the point of this entire AFL period, this entire AFL season. We do not know if Port Adelaide could beat a good team. Well, they've gone and beat a good team in GWS. Now the circumstances of GWS traveling and stuff, yeah, we could talk all about that. It's not, at the end, it's not exactly what an excuse that I want to give. I'm tired of giving excuses of traveling to teams. It shouldn't be an excuse. There's barely any fans for any team. If traveling is going to be a big issue, then it's a big issue every single year, every single day of the year for AFL, not just this season. I'm not giving that to them. They don't deserve that excuse. But Port Adelaide, they proved they could beat a good team. It's as simple as that. And now we can see what they're truly made of. They've beaten a great team. They got thumped last week, but this week against GWS, who's arguably a better team than Brisbane, they performed well. So maybe last week was just a slump of performance, and this week which shows what they're really about. Or maybe it's vice versa. But either way, Port Adelaide beat a good team. That's all that matters here. They finally beat a good team. You can talk about West Coast out of form, Gold Coast, Adelaide, Fremantle. You can talk about all these teams all you want. The fact of the matter is, they just beat the GWS Giants, who beat Collingwood, who beat Hawthorn, who beat a bunch of teams. And they're going to retain their season, put it back on track. And again, it was a great game. It was a great game. I think GWS could have performed better. I mean, if you look at the scoreline, they had 10 behind. So they could have easily won the game if they kicked straight. But at the end of the day, it's not the worst thing to lose to Port Adelaide, in my opinion. I still think that GWS will comfortably finish within the top 4 now. I predicted them to finish first. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Only time's going to tell. But in the top 4, I do believe they'll finish. Next up, and this game was absolutely dreadful to watch. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. Richmond versus Sydney. This game absolutely sucked. I'm sorry to Sydney fans for losing this game. I truly think this was the game you should have won. And I'm sorry for Richmond fans that actually thought that they were going to come in and thump Sydney. Obviously, I predicted Richmond to win, so I guess you can count this as a win for me because they did win. But neither team should be walking away happy with that performance. Neither team. No one could kick. The scoreline predicted that, 34-26. I'm telling you, Richmond, if that was any other team, even if that was probably Adelaide, you would have lost that game. Yeah, look, I don't know what to say. That's a dreadful performance. That is genuinely, that performance upsets me. Again, I've said it so many times. I hate seeing good teams play so badly. I hate it. I hated when West Coast were doing it, and to the point they are kind of still doing it, but they're winning games at least. Richmond, this was the worst performance I've seen out of, 3-4 years of you guys being good. How are you going to score 30? Oh, my God. I'm going to move on before... why couldn't you perform like this against Melbourne? Why? Why did you have to perform like... Next up, this game was good. This game was fantastic, but unfortunately I took a loss on the last game of the season. Carlton versus the Western Bulldogs. Now, if anybody watched this game and looked at the scoreline, and didn't watch the game, you would think this is an absolute massacre, destruction. Carlton came in all guns blazing. Bulldogs just sat there like little puppies and took what was coming to them. But those are the people that didn't watch the game. I watched this game. I had a personal interest in this game. And I got to tell you, that first half was amazing stuff from both teams. Oh my goodness, that was the football that we've all been craving. End-to-end, fast breaks, beautiful football. Bulldogs had to adjust their plan, kick it long, and it worked for them. Carlton, forward line pressure was amazing. Best thing I've seen from Carlton all year was that forward line pressure. Eddie Betts getting tackles left, right, and centre, man. Bumping everybody out the way. But the second half, things went a little bit downhill for Western Bulldogs. But this game was genuinely a great game to watch. And I salute both teams. Unfortunately, Bulldogs, their defense and their ruck work was shocking, and that kind of led to their demise. And Carlton were absolutely sensational for all 4 quarters. We finally got an all 4 quarter performance out of Carlton. The second quarter you could kind of debate if it was all 4, but it was good enough to secure a 52-point lead. So that's all you need to know in terms of Carlton and Western Bulldogs. What a sensational game. Blues fans, I'm sure, will be ecstatic with that victory. I've gotten tons of messages from Blues fans because the majority of my friends are Blues fans. And Bulldogs fans, it's almost like you've lost, but you know you played well, at least for the first half. You have something to take out of the game. I saw a very funny stat that Carlton actually score points per game over 100 against the Western Bulldogs. So that's clearly Carlton's favourite team to play, if you think about it. My goodness. I might show that stat if I still have it on my phone. I'll show it. But if not, yeah, look, great performance from both teams in the first half. And yeah, it was a beautiful game to watch. I love watching games as a neutral because I can kind of assess things without emotion based attached to it. So that is the round 6 results. So there, my win to loss should be at the bottom corner of the screen, and the ladder I will put here now. Now, before we go, I want to say the winners and the losers of this round. The winners for me by far are Carlton. Look, many people didn't predict them to win this game. And unfortunately, for Bulldogs fans, at their demise, Carlton were favourites, Carlton were victors, Carlton were dominant, and they finally played all 4 quarters. So you have to give the win to Carlton here. Absolutely sensational stuff. And I could have went on the fence and picked Fremantle, but at the end of the day, Fremantle... it was a very good game as well, and they beat St Kilda, a very good quality team. But the amount of points that Carlton won by, you can't put it behind them to actually say that Carlton didn't deserve the winner of the week. So I think Carlton, team of the week for the winner's side is Carlton. Team of the week for the losing side, I'm tempted to give it to Richmond, but I'm going to give it to Sydney, their opponents, for an absolutely dreadful performance from both teams. I'm going to give it to Sydney. I expect so much better when I watch an AFL game. I don't know if the conditions were slippery or whatever it is, but 34-27, I don't care if it's absolutely hailing down. You do not You do not. 34-27. I'm gonna have to rewatch that game. I only watched a bit of it, I have to admit, but I'm gonna have to rewatch that game and actually find out what was going on. That game was not great at all, and yeah, look, you have to move on. Richmond barely have any of their players. You can make the excuse all you want, but this was a Sydney side that easily could have won this game and they didn't, and that's why I think they are the losers of the week. So that is it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new to the Aidan Sports Show YouTube channel. Turn notifications on and let me know in the comments below if your team won, where's your team in the ladder. Also, if you have early predictions for round 7, feel free. Anything you want to message, man, I'm always here. Have a wonderful, safe day. Take care and peace.